Okay, ladies.
Okay. Hello, hello. Trying out a new camera angle here. Let's see if this works. Not sure if this is going to work or not. Bear with me. Oh, hi. Hi, Sam. I'm messing around. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Yeah. Okay. So I'm trying to see if it would be worthwhile filming with my phone. I'm a bit of a mess here. So I'm trying to fiddle with it. I have a different stand that might work out, but I'm not quite sure yet. I'm just trying to see how much of this is worth it. Because I'm short, so I have a hard time reaching the screen here to zoom in and out. And I can't quite see the screen too well. So maybe there would be better. You'll have to let me know. Um, So I do apologize. I'm just fiddling around here, just playing around to see how much of this is worth doing. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this going the way that it is. I can move my camera this way, but I don't know if that's a good angle either. Um, so you're being my crash test dummy, so I apologize for that. And pardon my shirt. I know I'm a mess right now. But maybe that would work, or maybe it's too close. Let me see here. I do apologize that this is not a format that I'm, uh, well, you'll have to tell me, if it's too close or not. Yes, I've done overhead recording. The thing is that the way that I moved everything to this table, it used to be I have three tables, if you can believe that. Three different tables on my in my room. The one that I use right now has a ledge right behind it and a window that my husband installed. So I typically just put my iPad up there and it points in the correct direction. This, however, is on a tripod. It's a completely different setup. So the tripod is meant for overhead filming, but there's not enough room for me to push the tripod away. So it's kind of tilted if in a way, unless I try to put it up on the ledge, which would then be kind of crazy because I really can't reach at that point at all. Yeah, I have a complete studio, so that's why I say, if you're ever in upstate New York and you need to stop in somewhere to craft, you're welcome to come around and play. Um, but I don't know. I suppose this isn't horrible. I could do my crafting here. You get to see all the snippets that fall on the floor behind me and the way that I move back and forth for my back. But happy Saturday. Happy 2nd of, gosh, can you believe it's April? Gosh, it's insane. I was coming along to say hi. I haven't done a live video. It feels like ages. And also to just share a couple little things and just chat about crafty ideas and things like that. Um, yes, I started out, no worries. I started out on my kitchen table. I always tell people I started out crafting with little, I'll show you, little boxes like these that you get at Joann's. These little plastic bins like that. See how, I mean, it's even all busted and everything. I started out crafting with the dollar store shoe boxes that are clear. And I would just have everything in there. And it was so, you have to improvise and adapt and all of that stuff, you know? You have to get creative with how you store your creative things. And then I would attend crops and They would do it like a giveaway, and I remember winning this little caddy from Creative Memories, I think it was. Yeah, Creative Memories, and I was so super excited about that. Hello, Maureen. Today's just more of a like a crafty chat than anything. I'm here. I'm sipping my my coffee. This mug was given to me by Vicky. Just made myself my latte. So yeah, that's what I did. I would just jam things in every place that I could find, and more the dining room table because we didn't really use it. So that was my area. You get to see my figure that I worked so hard on. My pooch. My kangaroo pooch from Making Two Humans. What I always point at. Say this is what allowed me to store two human beings. So I got to carry it with pride. So anyway, I have here this little freebie that came in the mail because I spent some money. Yes, I wish I could sit. Oh my gosh. You know, you got to be careful what you wish for, though. I used to sit for hours at work, and that ruined my back. Yeah, but it's a good morning. I'm here on my own. Everything's taken care of for the most part in my household. But I'm a grown woman, so I can determine when those things get done. And hubby's working, my son is working, and I'm home. So it's a good day to craft. So here's what I have, and we can play around with. Matter of fact, let me grab a stamp here that I haven't played with. I keep saying I'm going to use this, and I haven't done it yet. And I should probably grab a piece of paper. Let's see here. My cat's not in a very good mood. I think she thinks I was gonna like play with her, and she's kind of let down a bit. So this is a 110-pound cardstock. I have Bristol cardstock that I love to use for alcohol coloring and all that jazz. However, I don't always use it. Kind of save it for the really special stuff. If I'm just playing around, I'll just grab a piece of 110-pound cardstock, and I do believe, matter of fact, I'm trying to think of where I got this. I may have gotten this. Oh, gee, I don't recall. It may have been an Amazon purchase. There's some pretty good places to get heavy cardstock there. Yes, Maureen, I highly recommend it. I have a deviation in my back, and I have a pinched sciatic nerve. Apparently that's a thing you get in your 40s. Everybody's doing it. So I joined the gang. I guess I wanted to be popular and, you know, join the pain gang. Anyway, pardon my humor. I'm quite sarcastic if you haven't caught on yet. So I just poke fun at I have a very self-deprecating sense of humor. So sometimes it reads as being, I don't know, rude, but I'm not trying to be rude in any way, shape, or form. But I'm just cutting this down so that I have a little area here to stamp to show you guys. Yeah, and my 2-year anniversary will be this summer. I should have a party, a pain party, where people just bring all sorts of, you know, little things they want to share. I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. I don't even take anything for it. I just live in it. So let me not get sidetracked because I do that so easily. My Lord. All right. So here's the thing. The topic at hand, for at least for my. You know what? Though, Sam, is I'm trying to work on it because I was told that sarcasm is anger with a smile, and I don't want to be an angry person. You know, I'm a human being just like anybody else, and I have my moments, but I don't want to, you know, like embrace that kind of thing. I just want to embrace forgiveness instead. And I guess it's maybe the area in which I struggle, but humor in my household growing up, humor was a tactic or a what do you call that? Coping technique um, for pain, right? For emotional pain, it was humor, you know, that candy coated that. So as an adult, then it's been really interesting to kind of be introspective and look at myself and say, when I'm in physical pain, my sarcasm comes out like wow, you know, and I'm not even trying to do that. That's just, I guess it's in, you know, something in me that I have to really work on to be careful how much of that I implement into trying to go through my daily life, because I'm really just coping with physical pain. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think you do get it. Because those of us who have that tendency, we picked it up somewhere. You know what I mean? Um, Absolutely, Maureen. Yeah, I totally get it. You either, because it's one of those things where there are circumstances that everybody runs into that are unexpected, that we otherwise would not be able to cope with. And I'm a woman of prayer. I just ask God for to extend grace to me and be merciful, because I screw up all the time. You know, that's why I always say, you know, like, yes, I am a Christian, but I know that I know my limitations. I don't pretend to be something that I'm not. I haven't yet arrived, if you will. I'm working on, you know, being better. Yes, absolutely. So I have, okay, so let's get to the crafty bit of this. I have this Memento Tuxedo black ink, and as I've shared before, I put the little A on the corner here to remind myself that this is what I need to be using when I do my alcohol coloring. If I just want a black outline to an image, of course. Um, Mine dried up, and let me tell you, I spent hours on the internet looking for just a refill. And apparently the world didn't want to give me one that day. So I moved on and decided um, that I would just try to see if there was anything else out there that might work. And I came across Honeybee Stamps alcohol marker friendly intense black ink. So some of you may have this. Um, I also came across from My Favorite Things, which is a company I absolutely adore. They have beautiful stamps and everything. They have an extreme black ink, and I don't know, now that I'm looking at this, I have no idea why I grabbed this size. I don't know why I didn't get the re-inker, because I do like, when I buy an ink, I like to immediately get the re-inker. I got the one for this, but I didn't get one for that, so maybe it was unavailable. And I'm thinking that it might be a supply chain issue that's going on, because part of me thinks that all of these inks come from the very same place. This says it's made in the USA. However, ink production, let's see here. This also says it's made in the USA. I don't know. I always question those things. Again, some part of me says, yeah, okay, but whatever. That's not my business anyway. Let's give it a try. And what it says here is it's alcohol friendly, okay, let me try that again. Alcohol, marker, and solvent friendly. Crisp, clear impressions, fast drying, that's something that I look for. And then as far as the stamp surface, it's raised. And then you can heat set it, and that's good. That's all I need to know. And I don't normally read with scissors in my hands. I just wanted to cut that off. I hurt myself crafting, and one of my nails is hurt, so I apologize for the appearance of my hands. So what I'm looking at here, oh, and this is another thing I wanted to bring up. The covers on ink pads, let me tell you, they vary. There's such a great variation in these. So far, this didn't come apart. See what I'm doing here? It didn't fall off right away. That is a plus in my book. Let me see if this one does. No, it doesn't. So there's some sort of pressure there so that the you know, the lid doesn't come off. And I bring that up to say that I have a collection of Catherine Pooler inks. I've never seen such beautiful color in my life in terms of, you know, stamping. But the lids, when you hold it like this, they don't come off, right? And I did get the minis. I'm not about to spend money on the larger ones when I can refill these. However, when you take these off, they come off so quickly, and they don't snap back on, which is something I wish they would, because sometimes they fall off real easy, and that concerns me because I don't want to ruin my inks, right? So in comes this doohickey thingy, which Simon Says Stamp sent to me for free for the purchase that I made. And according to this has multiple uses. I was looking at it like, oh, it's cute. It's one of the colors that I really like, but how would I use this? And pardon the crinkle. And I'm not affiliated with Simon Says Stamp, so I have no motivation whatsoever to try to sell you guys on anything. Not that I do on any given day anyway, but this is supposed to hold. See that? It won't budge. So I thought that was pretty cool, because if I'm inking things and I want it to be static, that's a cool way to hold the ink. No worries, no worries. Just the three of us here, so I was just talking about the little paw. Now this is also meant to help you clean your brushes. We probably all have one of these for our makeup brushes, right? You know, you put it under the sink, add some soap and yada yada. But it's, you know, they said, okay, you can use it as a coaster, as I like to say, or you can use it to hold your ink and have it not move. And that part there, I was like, yeah, I'm liking that. So anyway, sorry to be all over the place, guys. This is just who I am. Let's go for one of these chicas. Girlfriend's pouring some tea, so let's go for that. See what that looks like. And this is just a stamp set called, what's it called again? Something about tea. Spill the tea, which I guess in current lingo means to tell you what's going on. I didn't even know that. That's how not trendy I am. Spill the tea means to tell you what's happening. Who knew? Oh, mamma mia, I got a piece of like lint in there somewhere. My OCD kicks in. Someday she'll ink it. She will. I promise. All right, let's take the lid off. And let's see what this looks like. So again, this is ink that's new to me in terms of the brand and all that. So I just wanted to see what this would be like. All right, not a problem there. Just taking a look at this image here. And you guys have to let me know how you like the, what do you call it? How this view looks or whatever, you know what I mean? Because I'm filming with my phone, which I don't normally do. And if it works out better, I might, you know, transition into this. But I think the clarity of the camera is better than my other one. So I just wanted to show you the image there. That's what it looks like. I like to show close-ups because I know I'm blind as a bat, so I like that it didn't get all fuzzy on the edges or anything like that, so that's kind of cool. Another thing that I had recently picked up, and I think I shared this, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did, and I kept the packaging to show you guys in case you're into stamping or new to stamping. There's a lot of frustrating things that can happen when you don't, you know, have the appropriate gear, in my opinion. So Tonic Studios sells this, Memento sells this. I'm pretty sure there's several companies that do. But this is a chamois. That's all it is. It's a chamois to clean your stamps. And let me tell you, I highly recommend it. All you do is keep it wet. So I put it in a little Ziploc bag. And it looks horrible, but its job is to do the dirty work, which, you know, you just wipe your stamp immediately with it. I like to actually saturate it with water first, and here's why. This is a brand new stamp, and if you don't know this, photopolymer stamps always come with a film on them. That's just the way they're fabricated. So I take an eraser generally before I even start stamping. So let me just clean it off for a second. I take an eraser and I rub it gently over the stamp. Not enough to ruin it, of course, but just enough to take off that film. And it'll take away the film, and then what's underneath is a little bit more porous, which is what allows it to grab more ink. So if you're having trouble with an image and you see like maybe one little part of it doesn't stamp so clearly, just take an eraser and rub it gently over that stamp. I kind of like the sound it makes too. So there's that. I don't know, and maybe you guys could tell me, so if anyone rewatches this, if you have the ones that are just from the dollar store that are meant for cleaning your cars, is that the same material? Please let me know, because I don't know. So I'm just going to go in with the eraser, and this is what I meant. I just use that narrow edge, and I just rub it back and forth, or in one direction generally, or whatever. And that's that. Now my stamp is not going to be too loosey-goosey, whatever. But it did stamp perfectly, I think, the first time around. So I think that's pretty cool. Now let's see the... actually, I'm going to use the same one and do the My Favorite Things Extreme Black. And this is a small cube, but of course I managed to stick my thumb right in it immediately. That's the initiation of my ink. I'm just going to, it has a little sticker on the side there. I don't know if that's because the lid's going to come off or what, but it's nice and raised. So that's a plus. I like that. And I don't mind buying the smaller ink pads so long as there is a re-inker. And like I said before, that day when I was ordering, no one had re-inkers. I looked everywhere, every store. And what I mean is just singular ones. The just standalone ink that goes with that pad, I couldn't find them. There were only bundles, and then I'm not a huge fan of buying bundles because then I end up with things that'll go bad. And of course that depends on what I'm, referring to. Okay, so this one, it's called Extreme Black, and I can tell you right now, I don't think that was wet, but it didn't stamp as dark as the first one. However, you can still see the image. If I were doing this with a stamp platform, I would just stamp it again. But it's clear enough that if you use light colors, it's not gonna, it won't be bothersome, I don't think. And my Memento is almost out, so I can't show you that. But if you were to want to use watercolor, then of course I recommend VersaFine, because this is the best ink out there when it comes to, in my opinion, of course, when it comes to detailed stamping. So let me just show you that. I'll just flip it over because I'm probably not going to use watercolor. And this also has a nice raised bed. And this is how I typically do it. If I'm not doing, I don't know, this is just how I apply the ink. And let's see if it lives up to its name after I just gave it high markings. So are you guys crafting today? I think Maureen, you said you were, right? Maybe? Or just sipping coffee, that's what it was. And okay, so I accidentally shifted it a tiny bit. That was my fault. But I love how crisp it is. And every once in a while, you're going to get a loosey-goosey little bit of ink that comes off. And it's from the fibers of that stamp pad. So that's another reason to be gentle with them, is because they are made of like almost like a fabric type material. Um, but I just call that any little speckles that I get, like she's got one right on her face, that's just a freckle. So she will live that way if I use her, you know. Although I might end up coloring these instead because of the ease of use of the alcohol markers. So there's yeah, there's those, and I'm actually quite pleased. I probably, to be honest, will go into this one more just because of how quickly that stamped out without me prepping the stamp or anything like that. So that's gonna get an A+ for me, and then I'll have to retry the MFT one to see if that's one that's gonna be useful. And if it is, then I'll end up getting the larger stamp pad. There's, of course, so many other options when you're stamping. There's the archival black ink from Ranger. Oh, that's awesome, Maureen. So if you haven't used this one, this is also great for stamping images that you will watercolor. So let me just, since I'm doing all the inks, let me just put it on here. And I was going to try to see if that would budge or not, but yeah, it does lift it. So it means nothing to me if it doesn't shift back and forth, because if it's, you know, if it's going to lift, then... All right, I think I got enough ink on there. So hard to tell. All right, let's give that a try. And I don't happen to have a Catherine Puller ink in black. Okay, so this was my fault because this surface here, I don't think is completely flat. I made the mistake of heat embossing something on this mat, and this is a Cricut mat. It's not heat friendly or heat resistant, and I think the center of my table here has a hill. Let me try that again. Okay, same thing, stamped perfectly. So these are the watercolor girls. Let me see if I prefer one or the other. Honestly, the archival, okay, and this is just nitpicking at this point. The archival from Ranger has a slightly blue tint to it. No one would ever notice that unless you're like really looking for it. And the other one's more of a true black. And again, this one was the VersaFine. This is archival. I'm sure in video there's absolutely no difference between any of them. And then these two guys were the Honeybee Stamps Creative, or Be Creative ink. And then this was the MFT ink. That's about it. All right. So I'm just going to put away my inks here for a minute. And I should probably grade them like A+ or something like that. Let me stamp it out, however, in a Catherine Puller ink, even if it's not black, so you guys can see how sharp it'll stamp, just to give you guys a point of reference. And Catherine Puller inks are also water soluble, so you can heat set them, but you have to be careful if you're adding water to them. I don't have black, but I do have, actually, let's do the blue. I have, this color is called Juniper Mist, and it's become one of my favorites because it's so intense. This has a nice high bed. I hope I'm in frame. It's got a nice high bed here for stamping, but they're so juicy that you have to be really careful. So they call it a kiss, you know, touch. You just want to gently touch your stamp when you're using this kind of ink. And my voice just trailed off. And let's put her up here. Girlfriend is spilling tea all over the place. I think she and I are gonna get along because I'm always spilling everything. All right, so there's that one. And maybe that freckle's there on purpose. You know what, guys? It is part of the design. I'm over here thinking it isn't. Okay. I'm like, how could I have possibly done that so many times in a row? All right. So here she is in the Catherine Puller ink. Super crisp. So every single time that you stamp, so long as there's enough ink on your stamp pad with the Catherine Puller inks, you're gonna get a nice, vibrant image like that. So if you're not so much into the stamping and coloring, you just like to stamp something out and move on, or if you like the kind of stamps that are let me give you another example. I have a set over here somewhere. Bear with me, guys, because okay, so say you have a stamp set like this one where, you know, there's a solid image. To prove my point, let me show you what I mean. Then you're going to want to use a vibrant ink, and I highly recommend the Catherine Puller inks. So say she spilled her tea and that stuff went all over the place. Let's see here. She commits a tea massacre, the Boston Tea Party. Then she's going to need some Catherine Puller inks for that. So let me just show you that. And again, this is a kiss technique. I have not used this stamp prior to this video, by the way. Not this particular one right here. Brand new. So I haven't conditioned it or anything like that. But let me show you what that looks like. So you see what I mean? Boom. Immediately you're going to get that vibrant color. There's no variation in it or anything like that. So super fun. And I like to mix and match my stamp sets. I don't know if you guys do that as well. But if I find one that, you know, gives me a better interpretation of what I'm trying to, you know, show on the card, then I'll switch them out. So I would say, you know, even though these are two completely different brands and everything, I may mix and match these with the MFT stamp. Why not? So let's do something. Let's see here. Do you guys have any questions for me? Because I can continue stamping and coloring. I don't have a I don't have a set craft plan in mind. Take a sip of my coffee. But I could color one of these girls in. Matter of fact, I just got some markers too. Let me just show you that. By the way, before I forget, the Catherine Puller inks will most certainly stain your stamp. Okay? So right away, it's going to look like it's red or reddish purple. And that will be because of the ink. So if you use them, don't be alarmed. That's just something that's going to happen. And you're going to notice it right away. See that? That all of a sudden that looks really different there. They're not going to go back to what they used to be. But if you're using your supplies, you shouldn't be too concerned about that. I want to, let's see here. I'm trying to think of which one of these other images to use. I guess I'll do it separately because I want to be able to cut them out. And I'm not going to be able to aim for anything much there. I don't know if that just made sense. But I'm trying to think of how I would use this, and I'd probably make maybe a slimline card. Because the T is, this is supposed to be the spillage. I don't even know. I don't know why they made that so big. But there's a little bunny image here that's really cute. There's a teddy bear, a little doll. So maybe we could do just a coloring session. I don't know. You guys let me know. And then there's her little girlfriend there, so she should be added to the gang. And there's these minute little teacups, and I cannot believe there's a total of 4 on here, but I don't know that I'll torture you guys with that today. Let me see. Let's just go ahead and stump a stump. All right, so I have a really old block here also. But I really like it. I don't recall where I got it, but it has these little lines right into the block, and I think it's so clever that they did that. I'm just gonna stamp this little girl out. And I am not the best at stamping. I normally use my Tim Holtz platform. But let me tell you, if you have the right ink, it helps so much. So much. Okay, let me try these. Actually, I guess these I could group in the same little area here. I always get it on my finger. I think. Old habits die hard. But I'm thinking of this stamp set in particular. It'd be so cute to use just one of these small images repeated on a page to make a pattern. So I'm gonna stamp them again. They're just so darling. And I don't know if you guys have seen my other videos regarding the cards for Cubs. I ended up participating in that for the first time this year. It is hosted by Barely Art, and they ask that you send in cards. You can pledge anywhere from 10 cards all the way up to whatever number you decide, and you just send them in and they give them to foster homes to give to the children. I thought it was a wonderful idea, so I did participate. And just to let you know, if you ever do choose to do something like that, they will accept the cards all year round. They just don't count them toward that big number unless you do it at that time of, you know, the challenge. The reason being that it's easier for them to collect a big quantity of them at once and then distribute them. It's a little less cumbersome, I guess, you know, in terms of trying to plan how many volunteers they need and all that. So in any case, they will still accept them, and that's what the one thing I wanted to share. So if maybe you thought, oh, I missed the deadline, I can't send them in, you still can. It just won't count toward that big number. So now that these are all stamped out, let's move on to the topic of ink. I did get some markers here, and these in particular I got from Violetta Ink. That's her sticker. So I like getting my Copics from them. I know there's a lot of different people who sell Copics. And I needed some refills, so I love her presentation. See, you get a card, and it's a gorgeous, you know, color, of course, her violet color, that's her trademark. And then they always come nicely protected. So you can use that tissue paper for something else if you need to. Let me open this up. Got the wrong scissors up here. She also has, if you're new to Copic coloring, she has these little cards that you can use to swatch out your markers. trying to find them here. I know they're around here somewhere, guys, but I'm not going to keep you all day. So in any case, I got some nibs and I got some refills. So I was glad to get those from her. There's tutorials out there on how to refill Copics. That's not something I'll get into today, but every now and then you do have to replace your nibs if they get contaminated with a different color, that sort of thing. Or if, like me, you go to, say, a store like Michael's and get a Copic. I'm trying to find it now. I know it's here somewhere. Okay, I'm trying to find it. I promise you all of my Copics are in the same place, but I don't see it. In any case, they sold me a Copic and it was completely empty. So I wasn't too thrilled about that. And I got the refill in the nibs so that I could fix that situation. So beware when you are purchasing Copics that you want to make sure if you're buying them retail, whether it be Hobby Lobby or any place like that, that you're able to check the tips before you take them home. Excuse me. All right, so this is just a receipt. Just wanted to make sure. So I just picked up another yellow because I have I try to increase the array of colors that I have, and I wanted to have a really light. This is just a YO2. So let's give that a try. Let's do some yellow coloring here. I'm just going to grab 2 more there, and I'm going to grab some green, and let's grab some blue. Just going to keep it light for spring colors, and maybe a B32. All right, so I don't think I need to zoom in, but I'm going to start here with, this is called Buttercup Yellow, and I think this should be dry enough that I can color it. If I was insecure about it, then I would heat set it with my heat gun, but I'm just going to go here on her hair. I don't normally do blonde hair, but just to try out the markers, I'll give this a try. What I'm doing here is just a little flicking motion. And she's got a ponytail there. So I'm just adding ink where I think shadows would hit her hair. And if you're coloring for fun, you don't have to be too crazy about light source, but it always helps. So I'm going to go in with a deeper color. And the order in which you do this, I think, is completely, you know, up to you. Whatever preference you have. I'm just checking to see if it's going to pull any of that black ink, and so far I don't see that. This marker's already stained. This is one of the nibs that I actually need to replace, but it's not pulling any of the ink. So that one was Y35, and now I'm just going to go in with the YO2. That's a brand new one, and I'm just going to pull on those other colors. So I'll let the marker tip rest on that a little bit longer and then just fill in the rest. Now again, this is not Copic paper, if you will. But I happen to like it. And another thing you can do when it comes to adding texture to this is you can go in with a colored pencil afterward and then really add a bunch of detail. You guys can let me know if that's something you're interested in seeing today, because I'm game. But there's the hair, the blonde hair. And I have a delay on my screen, so that's why I hold it there for a little bit longer, because I'm not always sure if you guys can see it or not. I think I was out of frame, so I do apologize for that. I don't know where the camera is, but hopefully you guys were able to see that. The detail that I'm referring to, I like to add with my Prismacolor pencils. So just to show you here, you can always find a match. And yes, you can buy these singularly. So that's always a plus when you can extend your color library by not necessarily having so many markers, but you know, just going back and forth with the pencils. So this one here is called Yellowed Orange, and that's PC 1002. It's a light enough color that I think would play well with the others. So here I can just go in and draw just a few little lines. And she's going to have a bit more texture to her hair. And I'm using the same flicking motion. I'm just following what I believe her hair would look like. Or the direction in which the hair would lay. And some of this, some of these strokes will be heavier than others on purpose. And you guys will see a difference in a minute. In fact, I could color the other one the same so that you can see a big difference there. And then some of these strands that were kind of left over, I can add the pencil to, and even a lighter one also. So this is a safe way to go around the edges of your image. In case you're kind of afraid to color outside of the lines, you can always use pencil on the outer perimeter and then use ink only in the center. If that's, you know, something you're trying to get yourself used to, you can certainly do that. And then you add however many colors you want, but let me just show you the detail now. And that's just adding one pencil on top of everything there. The little bits that were empty there, you know, I could grab another yellow. In this case, it was canary yellow, just for a tiny little bit there. But that gives it a little bit more texture. So I'll do the same thing for her face. I'm just going to add a couple of colors here. I think R20. And let's see here. I'm going to go really light. So I'm going to start with R20. This is a blush. And I'm just going to go right up next to the hairline. And underneath the eyes. Then I'm moving on to the hands here. So I will add the pink right on the tips of the hands and underneath the sleeve. Then I'll follow that with E53, which is called Raw Silk. And I'm going right over that pink and then extending it out a little bit more toward the center of the face, and then right on top of the other places there, just dabbing it on really. And then last but not least, the E21, which is a soft sun. I can now go over the entire face, and I'm just barely laying color down. And then over the rest of the little arms there. So that's going to take a moment to blend. If you're not familiar with alcohol inks, once it dries, it'll have a smoother texture. But that's the little face, nothing major. She's just got a little bit more rosy cheeks there because I added the pink right underneath the eyes so that it wouldn't be so flat. And then there's also a bit of an edge there that's pink on her face. So moving on to her little dress, I think what I'll do is add B32 as the base color. And I'm not going to mind her bow. I'm just going to go ahead and add this all around the edge here. And these stamps are quite small, so they don't really need a whole lot of ink. But I just followed the perimeter of her dress and then the little pleats with the blue. And now I'm just going to go over that with, this is Aqua, which is quite bright. That's BG15. And I'm going to follow just the edges there as well. And the little pleats. And then on top of that, I'm going to go in with G12, which is sea green, just to lighten that up a little bit. And the sleeve will only be in that color. And that's just to add depth, because the higher the contrast between the light and dark, the more 3D things tend to look. And let's see here, her little teapot can be, I suppose it can be pink. So I'm just going to bring this one back, and I'm going to use R83 for the little heart in the center here, and just the little edges. Then R20. And then I'll blend it out with RV10, which was that very light pink that I had also used on her cheeks. And I'll give her some little, let's see here, what color shoes? I think I'll just do, this is pale blue, B32. Just like that. And got a collection here of markers, but I tend to like the gradation of color, so I will try to use 3 markers to blend together. And of course, as I said before, then you can go in with pencils if you want to add a little bit more texture. But there she is. I think she's so cute. Super sweet little image. I'm now going to color her little friend here. So I want her to look a bit different than her. The, let's see here. The hair, I think I'm going to go with a more brown color. So I'm going to go down a few notches here. Let's see here. But I'm going to give her a tiny bit of a highlight. Her hair is going to start off with spring orange, and that's yellow red, or YR61. Just going to start off with that. And I'm just going to randomly just place this color here and there. Boom, boom, boom. All right, nothing major. Then I'm going to go in with E31, which is brick beige, over that, but toward the creases there, if you will, or the places where her hair already has those little lines drawn. I'm going to keep getting darker with E35. So this is what I meant earlier about the order in which you add the color is really up to you. Depends on what you're going for. You can go dark to light or light to dark, whatever you like. Okay. And then I'm going to go back to E31, which was that medium brown, and that's what I'm going to use to blend all the colors together. So in this case, that yellow red became an undertone. Oopsie, there we go. And then the darker brown just allows it to have the texture there in that case, as well as the shadow. But that's a nice medium brown tone for hair. I'm going to repeat the steps for the skin tone by adding the pink first, right around the hairline. And I hope I'm not coloring too slow on the arms. Second will be the brick beige. So yes, you can use the same tones for hair and for skin. I'm going right over that pink. And then I'm going to go in with E53, which is the raw silk. And that's just going to pull everything together. And I think I want to add a little more pink to her cheeks, so I'm just going to go back in with that. Hi, Bev. How are you, darling? I'm just doing a little bit of coloring today. We're chatting about black inks, and now I'm just going in with the color. So for her little flower in her hair, I can go ahead and do a little more intense color. So this is R22, which is called Light Prawn. And I'm just going to dot that in the center and then follow it with R83. Just like so. And the color difference is very minor. But what I'll do is use these also for her blouse. And are you stamping today? Or I'm sorry, crafting today, Beverly? Oh, thank you, Amber. These are called Spill the Tea by My Favorite Things, if you're interested. And I should have links on the description bar of my video for MFT. So if they still have it available, you should be able to pick it up if you like. And it's my first time coloring it, so I'm just playing around here with some Copics and pencils. But of course, if you're new to stamping or coloring, or if you just have questions, feel free to let me know. So again, with the R83 and RV21, in this case, I'm using the RV21 as the lightest. The R83 is the second color that I'm going in with. And I'm just going right over where I just colored, not too much more than that. And of course, if you wanted her to have a striped shirt, you can do that. It's all up to you. Or little polka dots. I hope I'm in frame here. I think I am. Now the lightest color will be this pink. And it's almost like a neon effect, this marker. It's just so bright, but I really like how bright it is. And of course, the more you saturate it, the more it's going to blend out. The pinks and reds have a tendency to pull together a little bit more than other colors, in my opinion. And you'll see what I mean by that. You do see that intensity there on the edges. Oh, you're welcome, Amber. Yes, I do. I love their stamps. They're so wholesome and sweet. And here, I'm just adding a few colors. I already did this one. So that's going to be her little friend. And what I did here was that I was trying out a brand new yellow marker that I received. And this was Y02. So for her hair, I used Y02, Y21, and Y35. And then I followed it up with PC1002 just to give it a little bit of texture there. And then I don't recall, but I've got my stash over here just in case. I think these were the colors. Yeah, for her little outfit were BG15, B32, and BG23. And skin color was, I believe, nope, these. RV10, E35, E31, and E53. And some combination of that for this one. I sometimes have to rewind my own videos to find out what I did because I don't remember. Don't tend to memorize the combinations there. So she's got enough pink going on there. I don't want to revisit that color. But I like the way that this lighter green looked here. So I'm just going to go in with G30, or I'm sorry, G12 for her little leggings that she's wearing. And this is such a small area that I don't want to add too much color, so I'm just literally like dotting it. Because this is where the smaller stamps become a challenge, is when they have the tiny little details. So to give it depth, you can just dot half of the image there. You don't have to fill the entire thing, and it'll give it a source of light, you know, a little bit of reflection there. So her little shoes, she's a little girl, so what color shoes should, you know what? Let's give her, I think she should have orange shoes. Because if I had a little girl, I might give her orange shoes just for the heck of it. Little girl clothes are so stinking cute. All right, and then that was a darker, that was YR07, by the way, and then I'm just going to do Y35 for the highlight on that. And those are some mega bright shoes, so guess what? She's going to need this on her leggings to make it match. So I'm going to go in where I had left the white spots with with Y35. I don't want her looking like a candy corn. Let's see here. Oh, no worries, Sam. I'm just over here making stuff up as I go along. Nothing new. So to tone this down, because it is quite bright, I'm just going to go in with the raw silk right over those little shoes. So if you ever find yourself in that position where you're like, oh dang, that color came out brighter than I anticipated, you can always do a color wash on top. So what's a color wash? A color wash is like a veil of color that you put on top of something else to either brighten it or pull it back down. So in this case, I had that Y35. It's super, super bright, and it would have been too much if I left it that way. Even though I love the color, I just added a veil of color on top with the E53, and that brought it back down again and just dulled it a tiny bit. So that way it's not crazy looking and it's not, you know, pulling your sight too much. And that's just color theory. Take it for what it is. She has a cupcake, so let's do something about that cupcake. I think, let's see here. The little plate, I'm trying to match her up, of course, with her little friend here. So, let's see. Choices, choices. Sometimes it's too much. Her little plate can be blue, just so it stands out from the background there a little bit. And I can follow that up with BG10. And this is called Cool Shadow. This is another great marker to use as that veil that I was describing, the BG10. And her little cupcake can be yellow. So just very simple. Color the whole thing in one color and then add a little bit of intensity to that, or a different color, whatever. In this case, I think I want to get out a pencil. And let's see here. I'm going to use this one called True Green, PC 910, just for the little stripes down here. Because I know that this is not going to bleed into anything, so it's just a safe way to add a little bit of color to that cupcake without it getting ruined because I put the tip of the marker in the wrong place or anything like that. Let's do the frosting there with a little drop of this color. This is called Orange. Hello, PC 918. So I'm just adding this to the frosting edge there a little bit. Okay. So there's that. And now if you notice, she's got quite a range of colors there, but you're not able to notice what was pencil and what was marker. And that's what I think is so wonderful about mixing the two, is that then you get your intensity of color on an image. And if you really want to, for instance, on her, immediately I think of the shadows on her shirt. I will go back, in this case, with another pink pencil, and this is PC 929, and it is called pink, and just add a little bit of texture on her shirt by adding little lines where the shadow is. As I get asked, you know, did you print that? You know, is that a sticker? No. I like to add texture to the things that I'm coloring to try to make them look a little bit more lifelike, and that's where the pencils are really useful. And that's, of course, if you enjoy coloring. If coloring is not your jam, you're never in a million years gonna want to bother with it. And I can respect that, but that's, you know, for me, this is so therapeutic and fun. So again, with the orange, I'm just going to go in to the little shoes, and that's where I'm going to add a little bit more texture as well by just very, very gently drawing the little lines there. You can do, of course, her hair. I had used a peach color to get her started. Let's see here. I have this pale vermilion, PC 921. With that, I can also add a few little lines here. Now, if you wanted to, I've done a coloring tutorial on hair that's on my playlist. You can see how to do different textures of hair in that video, because just because the paper is flat doesn't mean that the texture of the hair has to be flat. You can make her a curly-haired girl, or have completely, you know, you could add little cornrows, all sorts of things here if you wanted to. The sky's the limit on that. In this case, I'm just giving her almost as if it were highlights, but it's all done with one pencil, just to keep it simple. I think it also makes it look more alive. So there she is. And if you see, now she's got a little bit more texture in her hair instead of being so flat. And honestly, because this is just, you know, little kids, you can do the colors in any, you know, there's no wrong color. I'm going to quickly try to color that little teddy bear. So let's go on to that. I'm just going to keep that simple as well. The darkest color is going to be E35. I think this is my favorite brown of all time. Find myself gravitating toward it. And there's that. My second color is going to be E31. And then the lightest will be E53, which is raw silk. And I'm just doing all of the color at once there. Okay, I left his little belly white. So here I can add Buttercup Yellow, I think is what I'll use there, just to give him a different color on his little tummy. And then the little scarf he's wearing, just to bring that out a bit, I'll use BG23 and just dot that here and there. And then B10, or I'm sorry, BG10 on the rest of it. It's very, very subtle there. I'll color the bunny, and this bunny can be, what color do you do a bunny? I don't even know. I guess I could use the Buttercup Yellow and Spring Orange. Let's do that. So I'm just going to use the Spring Orange first as my shadow. And then I'm going to follow that with the Buttercup Yellow. And this is so minute that it's not even worth being crazy about this, you know. It's just kind of like, just get the color on there and get it over with. Thank you, Sam. I'm going to do the little dolly. I should have done her first, but let's go ahead and give her some vibrant hair with Y35. And then trying to pick up the pace here a little bit. I am going to go back to that dress in a minute. This is Y21. Y02. I'm going to give her a nice bright hair there. And the little bunny dress can be R20. Just nice and delicate. And this is RV10. Just for the center there. So there, a little bit of that ink did run just now, and I don't know why. Shouldn't have done that. I'm just going to go ahead and use this for the center of these little flowers. And her skin tone. Then I'll follow it with E31 for her skin tone. And I'm going to add a little bit of raw silk also, just because this E31 can almost look a little bit green. And it's hard to see on camera, but in person you see it when you add it. Hello, Naomi. I don't know if it's Naomi, but hello and welcome. Just doing a little coloring here today. I'm gonna go, since I'm doing this light pastel color, I'll do sea green for her little dress here, just to help those little flowers stand out a little bit more. And also the BG10 right on top of that. It's kind of just lightening up that, even though it's blue on top of green, this is such a neutral blue that you can add it on top of almost anything. And it's wonderful. So there I have all my little characters. I think they're so stinking cute. And of course you can add shine. You know, if you know how I like to make my cards, you know, at some point some little what do you call those things? The little diamond dots will end up on somebody, you know, all that good stuff. Let's fussy cut to get my eyesight a break here. Now normally, you know, if you have a plan in mind, you can stamp these out on a very thin piece of paper and make your little mask, so that way you can plan ahead and all that good stuff. As you know, this video did not begin this way. I was trying out black inks, and of course, you know, if you give a mouse a cookie, she ends up coloring. But there's no problem with that. You can always fussy cut the images. You can run them through your scan and cut. You can upload them to your computer and then mess around with them there once you've had them all colored. So whatever you do at this point is, you know, your own preference. I'm thinking I would like to get a card done today. So why not? I'm using my Tim Holtz scissors. I'm very well acquainted with cutting paper. So this is no big deal to me. If it's not your preference, then like I said before, you can do all of this way ahead of time and then do your masking. I try to be, you know, as precise as I can get without ruining the image. And that's about it. You can always color around the image with a lighter color if you want to, and then that'll give you a guide as to where to cut. So there's that chicky poo. Let's get this little one out of here. Just try to go back and forth between the larger and smaller scissors. But I like these because they have a tooth to them. If you know about scissors, you know, they're either going to be smooth or they're going to have a grip, kind of like a serrated knife in your kitchen. These are more serrated, and for that reason I like them, because this is thick paper. If I tried to cut this out with a smooth pair of scissors, my scissors are going to get, I guess, you know, stuck or lodged in the paper. And that wouldn't be a good result, because then your edges will buckle. So this is just a matter of like peeling an apple. Let's go for a little dolly. I appreciate you guys having the patience to watch me do this. I know that it's time consuming, but hopefully it gives you something relaxing to watch in the background while you're cleaning your house or doing chores or whatever. That's what I do to support other crafters, is I'll just play their videos in the background as I'm doing my laundry or things like that. So even if I don't get to comment, at least, you know, something's going on there. Now, while I have you guys here, I wanted to mention that if you have a moment, I would love it if you would click on my link for my website. I'm trying to get my blog back up and running. I had a blog for many years and then I stopped it. Life got in the way and it was neglected for a while there. So what I did is that I took that blog down. Rather than restarting it, I closed it down and then I started a new web page. On that web page, what I'm trying to do is share the projects that I'm doing, magazine style, if you will. You know, that's what a blog truly is. And adding the links to the places where I've gotten the product, of course, because that just helps the blog have kind of a place in the world of the web. If you don't have links, your blog will disappear, kind of like a stack of books. So that's all I would ask, if to support my channel, even if you don't shop for anything, if you just click on one of the links. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. It would do me such a, it would be really wonderful, because I do want to get that blog up and moving, and I would love to get some feedback. So if there is anything you see on there that you like or don't like or think is incomplete, I do ask that you be kind about it, but if you can let me know, like, hey, that is something I hadn't thought about or anything like that, I would truly, truly appreciate it. And I know that's a shameless plug, but I really am trying to get some traffic over there. And it's a lot of work if you don't actually get anybody to subscribe and things like that. Just like YouTube, these videos, these little cards, they look so innocent and all, but it can take you 4 hours to make one card. Not that I'm going to keep anybody here for 4 hours today. But the teddy bear is almost released from the background here. Boom. All right. So got my little key players. Now the question is, what kind of card to make? I'm thinking, let's keep it simple. Simple, simple. I could do an inky background. I can do, I happen to have the paper collection from Obed Marshall nearby that has all of the same colors. I could be super lazy and just do that. So let me see, where am I? This way. I'm going to put away my markers to one side because I don't need those any longer, I think. So I have a bunch of this paper left over. So have you guys seen my video that I posted yesterday using this paper? Oh, I was so happy with how it came out. Oh, there was so much about it that I just enjoyed. It really was fun. I mean, look at this paper. Look at that. Pop-Tarts, cereal, coffee. Oh my gosh. Too stinking cute, So I can make a card with that. And there's also this paper. Super cute. I like it. I could maybe go for this one. So it's a paper collection that's very summery. It's got all those nice pastel colors in it. Super easy to incorporate in whatever you're making, so long as you're using that color palette. But I really fell in love with it. Oh, thank you, Sam. Thank you so much. Your feedback means a lot to me, so I truly, truly appreciate it. There's this one, and this is a floral that's super pretty. In fact, if you're ever challenged by what color palette to use in stamping, just grab a piece of paper that you really like and grab markers that match it. And look, I wasn't even doing this consciously. but it's almost the same paper, the same colors I used for the coloring. I think I might go, this is kind of purpley though, let me see here. There's also this. This is super cute. I think I'm liking that. I could keep going. And then it has all of these cut aparts, little tags, the words there, see the little rainbow-like thing, cars. It had, I mean, it had so many things. This one was a bit more vibrant with the gold foiling, of course. Super sweet. I just loved it. Anyway, I think I want to use these, even though these are super fun too. Oopsie. Oh, and it has these little acrylic pieces also that are a lot of fun. All right, let me see here. I think I like that, so let me grab a piece of paper for my base. Oh, wonderful, Sam. I'm so happy. I love it when I can be useful to somebody. No, I'm so happy that, you know, this is useful to you. Now, mind you, okay, I did use all of these markers today, okay? But you don't have to. You don't have to use all markers like I said before. You can grab some pencils, and, you know, definitely go from that direction of grabbing your papers that you know you love first, and then looking at each one and maybe grabbing a pencil that's that color or similar to it. And then a rule of thumb is to try to do a gradation of color by adding, you know, grabbing colors that are in the same color family, one shade lighter, one shade darker. And that's the easy way to go about it. I don't have a full collection of Copics. I don't think I ever will, unless I hit the lotto or something like that, which I don't play. But it's, you know, that was an investment that I made after many, many, many years of coloring. So I'm going to cut this down really quickly. I'm trying to think of what size. Should I make it a slimline? What do you guys think? I rarely ever do a slimline, but I think they're fun. I have an envelope. Let me grab that real quick. I have like 50,000 of these envelopes, and I can make a slimline card. I'm trying to think of, although, yeah, it's going to be determined by the length of this. Yeah, let's do that, because I haven't made one in so long. All right, so what I'm going to do first is measure this out. What a weird way to make a card. All right, so this is 4 inches, so how do you make a slimline? 4 by what? Or is it 3 3¾ inches? Maybe that's how big it's supposed to be. 3 7/8. I think I'm gonna go with 3 7/8 by 8. Okay, I have my size. Sorry guys, it took me a minute there. Thank you. So I'm gonna cut this down real quick. Guys, my brain just went bloop. I'm like, what did I do? I need to score it first. I'm like, what is wrong with me? I can't get this right. Ay, 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 mamma mia. Okay, this is 3 7/8 this way. By 8. Such a dork. Did I do it right? No, I don't think I did. Let me think here. 3 7/8 times 2. I can't do math today. Let's see if this works. The genius. This is probably wrong. I'm probably gonna have to cut another one. Let's find out. What? Did I do it right? Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. Check it out. I didn't ruin it. I thought I did. I'm like, am I adding this correctly? All right. I just need to cut this down a tiny bit so it's 8 inches this way. I'm staring at the paper going, why can't I think? I got it wrong. All right. Let me make this 8 inches. For some reason, I had a brain fart there. I'm like, what's 3 7/8 times 2? Ah. It's whatever this is. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so let me cut this down to fit. I'm making the floral background here. Ay, ay, ay. 8 inches is right where that little, this little edge is. Okay. And then I'll make this one, yeah. Just right around there. Gotta take it down a smidge so it has room for the fold. So I will add that there. And I suppose I could have cut it a little bit larger, but that's okay. Glue. Yeah, definitely. I'm not gonna be able to pretend to be something that I'm not. Sometimes I'm just like, huh? What? Why am I here? You know? Like when you open the fridge and you're like, am I hungry? It's like, oh, no. This is just a bad habit. Let me get out of here. I literally was staring at my cutter going, can you tell me where I should cut this, please? Oh, drew a blank. All right, there's that. Like, what is wrong with me? I don't know. And then they could be on a striped edge there. Kind of, I don't know. Oh well, let's give that a try. Let's see how it looks. I have trouble with simple cards, can you tell? I can just do a little border here. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. I'm gonna do an inch and a half. Just bring that all the way down. Since that little edge was not perfect anyway, this will kind of save me. Let's add that here. And I'm gonna bring that all the way to the edge. There. Oh, hello, dude. I like your name. Crazy Crafting Creator Dude. CCCD. This is the most non-dude card ever, but I would, as a matter of fact, I have an easier time making masculine cards, believe it or not, than I do all this girly stuff. Oh. And here I can add almost like a little stage. So I'm not entirely insane. There is some method to my madness. I just blank out every now and then. Then there's a little dolly. There's Team Dolly, Team Teddy Bear. I see what's going on here. And then the bunnies, Switzerland. Oh, hi Edward. Thank you for being here. Yes, the Buenos Dias collection is it's so sweet. And you know what? I was kind of sort of chatting with Obed on Instagram because he's going to be in Puerto Rico in July. And I was just like, what? I am from Puerto Rico, and my family is there, or a lot of my family, I should say. I'm gonna see if I can do something here. So I thought that was super cool because just like anything else, you know, whenever someone visits your hometown or your home country, you want them to leave with a good impression. And immediately I thought, oh, wouldn't it be cool to go because he's gonna do a workshop. And I don't happen to know the ladies who own the store, or I think, as a matter of fact, I'm generalizing. I don't know if it's ladies who own the store. But all of that to say that he said, you know, are you going to be there? And I was like, oh, that would be so cool. I don't know. So I'm talking to my husband saying, what do you think? And, you know, sadly, July is not a time he can take, you know, vacation time. So if I went, okay, guys, I'm overthinking this. If I went, I'd be on my own, which is fine because I am an independent human being, but it'd be more fun if my husband could go with me, because then, you know, it's kind of a waste of vacation time if he doesn't. But I'm still thinking about it. I might do a little escape. Might have a little escape time for myself. It all also depends on the political climate, to be completely honest. All right, I didn't want this to be a straight line because that, you know, that to me wouldn't gel there. So I think I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna stop thinking about it and just play. Oh yeah, the cutesy stuff, it comes in handy. Absolutely. And you know what? Even adults, you know, like who cares what your age is? If you like something, you like it, you know? But I think this sort of thing appealed to me with that same, you know, mentality of who's going to receive it. You know, the cards that I make, or I'm sorry, let me backtrack. The stamps that I buy, generally speaking, are not something that I necessarily even appeals to me. I try to think of the person who's going to receive the card when I buy them. So let's do this one. It says, I can't imagine my life without you in it. I think that's a really nice sentiment. I'm trying to think of placement here, however. So there's little girl there, little girl here. And you know what? I forgot to do the cup. So I'm going to have to add that later on. All right. I think I'm going to stamp the sentiment at the bottom of this piece here. I forgot the little cup. So she's technically pouring tea into nothing at this point. But again, we all have those moments. Punches that are sticking. Spray for punches. Do you mean those little like those paper punches? What spray? The first thing that comes to mind is Pam. But you don't want to be using that in your craft room. That's a good question. I don't have very many punches because of my hands being weak. You can use a piece of foil and try to punch foil and see if that will sharpen the punch itself. And that might help with the sticking, because sometimes, I don't know, those things are machined, and sometimes the edges are a bit rough. But as far as a spray, not quite sure how to direct you in that. Just because, again, I don't use very many punches. So I'm just gonna, you know, you could heat emboss this and make it look spectacular. Today I've been here long enough and kept you guys long enough, so I'm not going that route. But That's what I would normally do, is heat emboss it. I'm gonna go here with this. And let's start placing these little guys. If you see what I'm doing here, I'm kind of masking those straight lines with the little elements that I'm adding to the card. And thank God that this dries clear, because I've gotten it in the places where I didn't intend to get it. I added a little bit too much glue. But what I do generally is I let it dry a bit, and then I go back in with the my rubber eraser, which I'll show you in just a moment. And these were the girls we stamped, you know, with the other inks there, but okay. There's that. Let's not forget the bunny. The bunny, the bunny. The bunny's like, whee, falling from the sky. I think I need to add her somewhere else. Because if I put her there, it's kind of distracting. It almost looks like, well, maybe not. Let's do some perspective here. I should have colored it, but that's okay. Let me just add the bunny. Thinking too much about this. Way too much. Ay, ay, ay. All right. This, oh, I'm so sorry. I was overthinking my stamping placement. This is called Spill the Tea by MFT. Let me take this cover off. MFT. Okay. And it has, like I shared earlier, it has all these little elements. There's a book, cupcake, little teacups, pearls. Here's the spillage. And then it has 4 separate sentiments. Let me read them to you. It says, I can't wait to spill the tea with you. Whatever we do is it's more fun together. The one that I use, I can't imagine my life without you. And then it says, being with you is my cup of tea. So I think they're pretty universal. And I don't always use the same colloquialisms as other people, so the whole spilling the tea meaning to chat, I didn't know that till I got this stamp. But yeah, it's a pretty adorable stamp. And as I mentioned before, if you want to make, I like to make cards that are sometimes a little wacky, you know, just funny. You can mix and match them with other stamps that you have in your collection. You know, like for instance, for me, I like this. This is a stamp set from, by the way, the Brush Strokes collection by Lou Collins. She made this collection called Textures. So I would totally match that with this because it's got a bunch of drips and things like that. Just to make a funny card about how messy I am, for instance, or something like that. Something a friend would, you know, giggle at. Because at the end of the day, that's what I think is important, is that the person receiving your card can have a smile on their face and understand what the message was, you know. On the inside of this card, I think I'm going to place this. Let me see. Maybe up here. Because I don't want to waste that paper. Or maybe I'll put it on the back. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to place it on the back. You're very welcome. And there should be a link to MFT in the description bar of this video. If not, there certainly is one on my webpage, which is www.paintsandglitter.com. Please visit me there. I'm going to keep doing my shameless plugs until someone stops by. But yeah. They have some, as a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure they have a sale going on right now. But let me show you, before I forget, Edward, since you like that paper collection, let me show you what I made with it. Since you guys are here, the camera, which, by the way, Sam, thank you so much for having reached out to me and telling me about the whole strap for the coffee cup. I should have done that, but I didn't have, I was thinking of the whole pearl strand thing. I didn't have the right size pearls. So instead I use, you know, the same concept, but with the fibers, because I love this kind of stuff. Um, and I happen to have the same colors as the collection. That was pure coincidence. So I used it there. And then if you like that paper collection, there are so many different ways you could use it. I went the total girly route on this book because I wanted to use the flowers and all of that. But you can certainly do a very masculine book with that, with this collection. Obviously, you know, being designed by a guy, there's always these little elements that are a bit different than, in my opinion anyway, than when women design papers. Like, I'm thinking Paige Evans is a person that comes to mind. Her stuff is so super duper girly, but I was showing my husband a lot of these pages and he really liked them. For instance, if you were to do something coffee related, there's the images of the coffee cup and that sort of thing here. Then there's the papers that are for instance, let me think here. Oh yeah, there's the suitcase, there's the airplanes, the globe. Then what else? The soda pop. And this just opens like that. There's just so much these frames. So if you end up getting anything like the let me show you. It came with all of these, the little chipboard stickers, and see if you the shirt and the suit jacket. I thought those were so cool. I have two sons, and one of them is very preppy in his style of dress, and the other one, he's very colorful in the way that he dresses. He's just always been like that since he was very little. He would match different colors of clothing, and I would let him, you know, just express his style. So he totally would wear a shirt like that, you know, with all different colors in it. So I got to thinking that would be great to add if I put a picture of him in here, to just go ahead and add one of the shirts or something like that, you know. And then of course the glasses, that was the other thing. My son likes to wear sunglasses and accessorize, whereas, or I should say my youngest, whereas my oldest, he'll accessorize, but generally it might be like in a dark navy or black. Yes. Oh, wonderful. I'll have to take a look at that. Did you post it? Edward, did you post that on social media? I'd love to see it. Because this is a year old. Sadly, it sat in a drawer, guys. How awful. But it sat in a drawer, and then I wanted to use it, just to make something cheerful, because I live in, where I live, it's so dreary and dark. The winters are so long here. It was snowing, I think, yesterday or the day before yesterday. And I am from the tropics, so there's only so much of that I can handle. So this time of year, I need to pull something out that's happy and fun. So I was so happy to have had this. So here's where I use the car. I just made that little pop-up page there. So Edward, I figured you might appreciate something like that. I happen to like cars, so oh, okay. PHA Facebook page. All right, I can look that up. No worries. Then here, this was the interactive page, which I wasn't too thrilled with because I got to thinking I should have put this on the side and not in the center of the book, but whatever. It is, it's there and it's gonna stay there. Because I keep ripping the bow. That's completely my fault. I keep ripping it off. So, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna add some more glue. Woohoo! So this is just a little interactive element that you can use. This is done with Tonic Studios dyes. I've shown it before on other videos. And it's a lot of fun. So long as you don't destroy it every single time you go to, you know, close the page. So I'm gonna give it a minute to dry there, but I don't know if it's gonna work out too well, but I think it will. Just have to be careful with it. Yes. Oh, you work at a school, dual language. Awesome. That is phenomenal. Do you teach a particular grade? Yeah, I don't think I'm on the PHA page, but yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up. Do you teach yeah, Edward, tell me which group of children you work with. Because there's I don't know, there's so much controversy going on right now with schools. It's pretty sad. Um You're the parent engagement representative. Oh, that's interesting. So you actually do look to the parents for their opinions on things at the school you work at? And I know this is a complete sideline, you know, you don't have to answer me if you don't want to, but I'm just intrigued by that because of the schools here, the local schools, and I'm referring to public schools, not private. Um, the public schools in the area in which I live, and I live in upstate New York, they don't want the parents to engage. They don't want the parents to visit the schools. They don't want the parents to voice their opinions on what they're teaching children, and I find that to be alarming. It's a long time coming and it's nothing new, but um, I just share it because if you do have children in public schools, you know, then you need to be alert to what's happening, to what's going on. I think I lost a little heart somewhere. Where did this come from? I don't even know. My son, I took him out of the public school system because it was that bad. There were things happening, and in the public schools, and I'll say this to you because if you work in a school, then I think, you know, I think your opinion is important on this sort of thing. Um, but at the time that my son was in the public school, he was still in middle school. Oh, you're in Houston. Okay. School participating in kids' education. Oh my gosh, that's phenomenal. Oh yeah, see, same here, Sam. That's exactly the issue that I had with my son in the public school, was that there was a whole what do you call it? There was this whole supposed anti-bullying campaign, and you know, everyone's accepted and everyone is welcome except for conservatives, except for those who had you know, set boundaries on what they wanted their children to participate in. And I find that to be entirely hypocritical, and not only that, but dangerous, because for instance, you know, this is the United States of America. We have, you know, rights, and right now there are people who have every intention of eliminating parental rights in the school systems, and I think that that's wrong. It's illegal, first of all, but it's morally wrong to do that. So Edward, I mean, I commend your school if what they're doing is the opposite and getting the parents involved instead. Um, my children were not treated as equal because of our belief system, and that's, you know, uh, I think it's rather shameful in the US to have that sort of situation going on, you know. Uh, we have a very strong faith, and it's what I've imparted in my children to, you know, to love their neighbor, love everybody, you know, but for the very reason that they love God. So I don't know. There were things going on that were purely illegal in the school, and the school was not addressing it because the children were doing it. So think about that for a minute. I had a conversation with the principal asking him and saying, well, wait a minute, if this is happening in the cafeteria, you know, in broad daylight, as we say, and an adult were doing it in the school, that teacher or that adult would be carried out in handcuffs and sent to jail. But if a kid is doing it, they're allowing it. And that was the last straw. I mean, um, and the response that I got was completely spineless, and that's the only way that I can describe that. It's just unbelievable. So anyway, I'm a huge advocate for parental rights, for constitutional rights, and for faith-based beliefs being what you know what you believe in. If you want to disagree with someone's core belief system, you can. Absolutely. That's what this country is based on. Um, but to try to discriminate against children because of their belief system is just, oh, it's sad, you know. Um, so yeah, there's a lot going on, and I would hope that, you know, yeah, same here, Samantha. My sons were as well, so you know, it's and the issue is that if you pay tax dollars so that the school system has a say, as per what the community wants, you know, for their children to be educated in, to try to sway that in one way or another is, um, it's a misuse of funding of tax dollars. So I have strong opinions. I, as you can tell, but I do welcome the conversation, and I do welcome, you know, to know, for instance, if in Houston parents are allowed to convey their opinion, then yeah. Oh wow. Well, Edward, that's wonderful. That's wonderful to hear. Um, yeah, because there's you know, you have, I always say this, you know, you have who you are before children and then who you are after children, because I can speak from personal experience, you know, before having kids, I didn't have a clue about how, you know, how challenging it can be to have this other human being that depends on you, and who you are an example for, and all of those things, or how they can push you, you know, because I truly believe that your children are in your life to to teach you about who you truly are, when, you know, when no one is looking, and you know, all of that, and they do help to shape you. Yeah, we see now, Samantha, I could send you, so you're in Florida though. There's a lot going on in Florida regarding that as well, at least, you know, from a political perspective. um and we have a group here of parents that are trying to do, you know, the right thing also for their children. Um, just trying to make it so that there's not this the secretive agenda going on, where the parents are left out of the loop as to what's really being taught in the schools and stuff like that. You know? Yeah. Now I worked as a paraprofessional in the school systems when my oldest son was little. He's 24 years old now, and back then I would go into a classroom. Yeah, back then I would go into a classroom. I would sit there, and I had to work one on one. Say, you know, for instance, it could be with a child that had autism. It could be with a child that just had learning disabilities, or, you know, different situations, right? But I would go into the classroom and I would sit at the back of the room, depending on the grade level, you know, sometimes I was just right in the mix of it. Um, and I got to hear what the teachers would say to the children, thinking, you know, this is between us. Um, and even hear teachers make comments like, well, that's what your parents used to think long ago because, you know, they're older. things like that. So completely undermining parental authority in the classroom. Um, Fast forward, quite a few years, I worked with children in a daycare. Um, and they were my little students, and I was supposed to teach them. Um, and I was not even allowed to refer to them, those little children who were between the ages of 2 and 3 years old. I was not allowed to refer to them as boy or girl. I had to call them friends. And I recall telling my supervisor, I don't have friends that age. I'm an adult female, and my friends are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, you know. Um, but no, I don't have friends that are that age, and I think that that is actually a dangerous line you know, to blur when you're referring to children as your friends. And I was told that that's how I had to address those kids. Um, and I was not allowed to say good, bad. Those were words that were forbidden in that place where I worked. Um, and I can understand, for instance, not telling a child, "Hey, you're a bad boy" or "you're a bad girl." Absolutely not. I don't think that that's what a teacher should ever do. Um, but to remove the word from your vocabulary and remove the words boy and girl from your vocabulary, I think is dangerous. It's unrealistic also. And that's being done in the school systems. It's been in place for quite a while. I just think, with COVID and everything, parents got to see what's really going on in the schools because it brought it into their own living room. And I think it's been a rude awakening for a lot of people. And I'm here to say that, if you're an adult, whatever you want to live out, that's on you. But to put that on kids is absolutely wrong. And I don't care if, people just, walk away from this channel and hate me forever. I really don't care. um, because I can respect absolutely everyone who comes here to look at the crafts, and we can talk about anything, within reason, of course. Um, but I don't think that it's fair to keep parents in the dark when it comes to their own children. That's just my opinion. Um, because they're only little for a very short while, and they're so precious, and they're so impressionable. And innocence is the most beautiful thing that any human being can possess. And I think that anything that is done to I don't know, to kind of blot that out, or remove it at an age where a child isn't ready, is darn right abuse. I don't know. I guess I don't have gray areas when it comes to that. That those are my belief systems, and I won't shy away from sharing them. But I think, like what Edward just shared, I think is so important to say that, he's become a more compassionate and understanding person by working with the very people that have been left out from the, you know, the equation of teaching children in the school systems. It's like, at the end of the day, those kids are going to go home, and whatever they taught, whatever they learn in the classroom, they're going to live out, and vice versa. So it has to be a dual relationship. I agree with that as well, Edward. Definitely, and the opposite is true also. There are kids that fly under the radar when some really serious stuff is happening because people don't want to say anything. I ran into that as well. I was told by supervisors, you're seeing too much. And I remember one conversation, and I'll share it because I couldn't give a hoot now what that person thinks of me or anything like that. And I say, for instance, there's a difference between casting a stone and guarding something that is precious, right? When you see a child And this was something that I lived, so I can speak of it. When you see a child having certain behaviors that are completely unnatural to a small child, and you bring that up to a supervisor and say, hey, you know, I witnessed this, and that person says to you, you're seeing too much, boom, big red flag. Because as a parent, I want to know. I want to know if my kid has gone through maybe something traumatic or has been exposed to something they shouldn't have seen, you know, all of that. And teachers are sometimes the first ones to notice. Um, so it's just one of those things that I say, you know, it should be complete transparency across the board, um, especially if it's, you know, funded by our tax dollars. I mean, hello, you know, because again, it's like Mark Twain said, if you know, if you don't, what is it? If you don't lie, you don't have to remember anything. You know, if you don't have anything to hide, then there's no issue. Walk in anytime. I had teachers for my children that were so phenomenal. They always had an open door policy. I was that mom that was like the room mom most of the times. So I would go in, help them, you know, in the classroom, things like that, help them with their bulletin boards, whatever they needed, because it is a lot of work, you know. Um, and a lot of them were just wonderful. They were like, yeah, anytime you want to come in, absolutely. You know, you're making my life easier if you're helping me, you know, do the photocopies or bring this in the classroom or, you know, pass out the cupcakes or whatever the heck, you know. Um, yeah, I believe in that wholeheartedly, you know. And it also gives you a good perspective of how your own kid's behaving in school, you know. Um, so, and I'm not meaning to be negative at all about any of it. It's just that if, you know, if you have kids and these things are happening and you don't even know about it, then I would, you know, I'll be the first to tell you, you better get your, you know, find out what's going on. Absolutely. Uh, you know, I just made the assumption, and here's another thing that, you know, like I said, pre having children and after having children, the things that you learn, I made the assumption that boys didn't necessarily go through certain things in school, given the personality of my children. And I found out very quickly that it had nothing to do with having a boy versus having a girl in school. You still have to be very alert, and very careful as to what kind of people are surrounding your children and all that. Um, so Edward's saying one student is a harder working and better behaved student if their parent is in the building. Oh yeah, definitely. What? So Maureen says, as a mom of an autistic child, nonverbal, I was not allowed to talk to the aides that he had. So what would be the that I'm curious about that. What was the reason given for that? If these are people working directly with your child, what, you know, did they tag you? Let me guess, because this is what I've witnessed. Tagged as an overbearing mother that's trying to tell the aides what to do when they already have the training and know better. Uh, and I'm just saying that because of conversations that I've heard in the public school, you know. And mind you, this can happen anywhere, but I'm just saying, you know, it's easier to have things like that in place. I don't know. I guess I'll leave it there, you know. And I don't want to generalize and say that every single person is like that, because that wouldn't be true. But I'm just, you know, I can just speak from the experiences that I had. You know, I worked with one autistic child one on one, and we were in a classroom baking that day. I remember, and I went up to him, and mind you, I'm there to work with him, not with the rest of the class, just with him. And we were making pretzels, and I said to him, come on, let's get our hands in that. you know, this is the only way you're going to learn, because baking is about texture. It's about getting your hands in there. Let's get dirty, you know. And the other teacher in the room looked at me and said, be careful. He might not react well to that, you know. And I completely ignored her, only because what I thought was, why would you set a barrier for this child who isn't complaining? He's not crying. He's not upset. He hasn't walked away from me. He's fully engaged. And when a child is fully engaged, that's a wonderful opportunity to introduce him into something that, you know, he suddenly feels free doing, rather than, oh my gosh, you know, let me guard myself. 2 seconds later, his hands were all over that dough. He was happy. He was smiling. He wasn't talking, you know, and that's, if you know, Maureen has an autistic child, that's one, you know, I'm not saying all autistic children are like that, but yeah, you run into that, right? But he was, every part of him was showing me that, yeah, you know what, he was having a darn good time. And we got through that lesson and everything, and there was a comfort level, and he had never seen me before. So that let me know that, you know, you can influence a child in a positive manner the very first time that they meet you. It doesn't have to take years and years and years. um yeah, see, I'm not surprised by that, Maureen, because sometimes the you know, I run into situations where the person in charge of the classroom doesn't necessarily know how to read too well, and you wonder, how did they even get there? How is that person even employed to be the teacher? But that's for another day. I wish I could say I've seen so many wonderful things, but um, it hasn't been the case, you know, at least not when I was, you know, in that circumstance where I was kind of like behind the scenes, and people just assumed, sometimes they assumed I was a student, which I thought was hysterical. Um, but I just saw a lot, witnessed a lot. And I just say, if you have a kid, you have to be your child's advocate, and you have to be nosy, and you have to ask questions, and you have to show up, and, you know, and I don't believe in this whole, you know, uh, you can't come into the school. You know, that to me is a huge red flag. And that's happening here in New York State right now. um, I love that. I love that, Edward. You're absolutely right. You know, because I think that's something you have to be careful about, is not projecting to a child your own insecurities and your own shortcomings. Uh, because if you're going to go with the theory of the tabula rasa, which means the clear slate, that if you do believe in that, right? Some people do, some people don't. But that's something that's taught in education. If you're going to go with that theory of that every child's a clean slate, and whatever you put into that child's, what's going to grow there, um, then I think that you shouldn't set a limitation or a barrier as to potential growth and learning if it isn't there. For instance, and this is just something that I share with people who are close to me. But in this case, I'm on the internet and whatever, you know, wherever it lands, it lands. But um, I came from a background where I was seeing a lot of different cultural differences and things like that, because my father was in the military and I grew up in military bases. So my friends all spoke different languages in their home, and then at school we spoke English. So there was nothing telling me that I couldn't learn the same languages that my friends spoke. There was nothing telling me that I couldn't engage with them in the way that they engaged in their families. Um, and it was a really beautiful thing because, for instance, if my one friend's family said, in our house, you take your shoes off before you walk in the door, I knew to be respectful of that, and in that house, that's what I did. Whereas at, maybe some other friend's house, little Johnny's house, you could run up and down the house and make all the noise you wanted to, and no one cared. There, I understood that to be their way of doing things. And as a kid, to be exposed to so many of those nuances of life, right? And languages and ways of just communicating and all that, to me was extremely helpful because I came from a household where both parents spoke Spanish, where we had our rules and we did things a certain way, but I needed to know how to survive with all of the other kids in the neighborhood, if that makes any sense, right? So, good morning, Stace. I'm just preaching. So now, as an adult, if I'm in a situation where there are people who don't speak the language, who are not from the same country, don't have the same background, I completely feel at ease and I don't have any issue with that. Or even if they're nonverbal, it doesn't matter. To me, I'm just like, hey, we can still get to know one another, learn from one another. Even if we have completely different belief systems, I can still learn something from you. You're an intelligent human being, and so am I, and we can have a dynamic of respect without having to um, let go of that which we know is true. You know what I mean? So that's all. Um, this conversation went way. I should have moved the camera up, but I don't have any makeup on my face, so I'm not gonna do that this morning. But I've been here for quite a while now. And I don't know. Do you guys have any crafty questions? I'm over here with my tummy. Every time I see that on video, I'm like, oh Lord. My belly on the table. But I'm glad to have gotten to have this conversation with you guys because I often wonder what's going on, and is there anyone else out there aware of these things? Are people just living with their head in the sand or what? Because of course, with close friends, you can have conversations about all these things. And that's not to say you always agree with everybody, but it's different in the the crafty community and all that. No worries, Edward. That can happen in a hot minute here. So, and that's fine. This is a crafty community. It's not. I don't think that we have to pretend that other things are not happening. More sensitive topics are not happening just because it makes it easier. I'm not afraid of difficult conversations, so it's fine by me. I'm a huge believer in that, there are no coincidences. And sometimes people are brought into your life because they either have something to teach you or you have something to teach them. So it's fine. Absolutely fine. I've just added a little bit of this jelly roll shine to this image, by the way. These come in all different colors, but I tend to be I guess a minimalist when it comes to this one. I have one here that's a silver, but it goes kind of dark. Let me show you what I mean. Here's the paper that I was stamping on earlier. If I use this, even though it's meant to be silver, it has a gray cast to it. There we go. So it's great, for instance, if you need to die cut something really quick and you need it to be shiny or whatever, these pens are really cool for that too. But I don't like to use it on top of the image necessarily because then it's going to have that gray color. But these do, if you're not familiar with Sakura pens, Jelly Roll pens, they do come in all different colors, even neon and everything. They're really cute. Oh no, you're very welcome. And you're not. And that's the other thing is that, you know, behind all of this, and I'm just trying to be I'm trying to be tactful and gentle in speech, right? Because I had, like I said before, I have strong opinions, but I am a Christian woman and I believe in the God of the Bible. And I do believe that behind all of this is a bigger agenda, and it is a spiritual agenda. It's something that goes much deeper than what we're seeing on the surface. Um, um, Jesus said that it would be better that a person tie a rock around their neck than to do harm to one of his little children, right? Now, Jesus didn't have kids, so when he's referring to children, he's referring to all of us, those who believe in him. So it's better to, you know, not be around than to do harm to a small child. And that those are the words of a loving God. Now, why can I say that that's, you know, the words of a loving God? First of all, because I know the loving God that I'm referring to, but also because it's a boundary set for that which is innocent and pure, and that we are not to damage that. And when it's done on a societal level, it doesn't mean that it's okay because it's part of the culture. It means that it has permeated more of the culture than we have maybe anticipated because A, we're not paying attention, or we are too ashamed to say that which we know is true, or we're so afraid that people are going to unfriend us that it becomes uncomfortable. I'm going to say that at my age and with the experience that I have as a believer, I'm comfortable enough to say, no, this is the truth. This is what's happening. If you don't want to know what's happening, don't talk to me because I'm not going to candy coat anything to make you feel more comfortable. This is a spiritual battle, period. Children, families, and marriages are being attacked. And it comes from a very dark place. If you don't know that, you need to get with the program and you need to open your eyes and see what's happening in the society that we live in right now. God loves all of us, and because he does, he made a plan for us. He made a way in which things would function the way he sees it to be right. If we disagree with that, that's on us. But in any case, that's all my preaching for today. So yeah, and I do agree. This young man is very talented. He does make some really beautiful collections. I'm probably, I don't know if I'll pick up the next one that he just came out with recently. It's very, very similar to, you know, in the color palette to this one. But if you do like those nice soft colors and just something that brightens your day, I think that this is a wonderful collection to work with. As you can see there, you know, just made a card with it. That took me forever and a day, but I can send that off. So before I let you guys go, number one, I would love if you could visit me on my website. Just leave me a comment. Constructive criticism is welcome. Secondly, I have a video regarding this here, and I'm gonna come back to do the tutorial for the my next one. Sorry, will be for the typewriter. So I will be back with that. So I'm making that commitment right now. And of course, if you have any questions, I'm happy to respond. Hi, Michelle. Oh, no worries, sweetheart. I was just coloring and preaching and sharing my beliefs and talking about parenting and ink and coloring. It's a little bit of everything. But yeah, Not a problem. I just had some time this morning to play around, and I just wanted to come along and show the little projects that I've made, things like that. Because sometimes there's questions you can ask in a live that are easier to respond to than, you know, in the pre-recorded videos and the comments and all that stuff. But can I ask, have any of you guys picked up, Stace, to answer your card? It is www.paintsandglitter.com. And my intention is to, if I get enough traffic there, to do my secret giveaways from the comments left there. Because what I do is that every month or every 2 months, I do have a secret giveaway, and I don't announce it or anything like that. I'll just pick a person from, whether it be a live video that I did or just a comment left on my videos, and then I reach out to that person, ask them for the address, or I'll even reach out to a friend, get the address, and then send something in the mail. So, oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Michelle. So if any of you guys have this die set, let me know. I know someone came by and left a comment saying she picked it up. But my hopes are, and I wish, oh, let me show you guys the camera Michelle gave me so that you have a comparison. And Michelle, maybe you can tell us which file this was. Look at this mama. This is like the mama bear camera. Yeah, I did take you to church, Edward. That's who I am. You hang out with me, you're gonna hear the name of Jesus at least once in our conversation. That's just a given. But yeah, God is good though, you know, and I just want to share that with everybody that I meet. God loves you, Jesus loves you, and so do I. So, this was made by Michelle. Michelle, I haven't even used these because I don't want to part with them. That's what we do, isn't it? Look at what she made. So adorable. And it's in here decorating my room. Oh, no worries. You can replay it. You can replay it. You know what I should do is come back and add in the comments all of the Bible verses related to what I was sharing, so that you know that it's just not just my personal opinion. Oh, you know what I did? I added a picture of my cat when we first got her. I had made a little collage there, but it's too small. And then there's my baby boy. He doesn't even look like that anymore. He's grown so much. Oh, that's wonderful. Yes, I love this color palette. I agree. The sage green and the pink is so, and it's a nice dusty pink. It is gorgeous. So Michelle did it justice. She really went all out with that. And I love that it's so rustic looking too, with and then she added the rose gold on there. So if you know, just to give you a perspective, this was an SVG file, right? I believe, yeah, this was made by Shabby Chic Chick, who's in the crowd right now, Michelle. She did a phenomenal job. So what we did was, Michelle, remind me. Oh, it was a group swap. But it was, oh, you're welcome. But it was random, right? Like random selection. So I got the one that Michelle made, and someone else got the one that I made, right? Am I right, Michelle? Or did I make you I don't remember now. Yeah, this one's gorgeous. But then just to show you the size difference, you see that? This one's a box that fits quite a bit. And then this one from Tonic Studios is smaller. And the idea behind this one is that you put the items on the inside back here. So it does come with the die to cut out these smaller pieces. So I would just say, you know, I'm wondering if a little tea bag would fit in there. That'd be kind of cute. Like if you need a quick gift idea, this is the way to go. But if you want something that's really going to, you know, wow a person, that that you want to add a bit more into, then of course this is what I would recommend. Oh, okay, so you did get, gosh, I am such a flake. I don't remember. Isn't that crazy? Like once something leaves my hands, I legitimately I don't recall like who got what did I make, and then sometimes you know how you get those your own pictures come up in, you know, memories or stuff like that, then I'm like, "Oh yeah. I made that." But then I completely forget, you know, who got what. I don't know. I guess my brain just doesn't have room for it. My hard drive is shot. uh, um, but yeah, that's to give you some perspective. And the file that you used, oh, that's wonderful, Michelle. The file you used for that one was different than the file that I used. I do know that. Now that I'm remembering, I just don't remember what it looks like. Um, but yeah, so those are SVG files. I don't recall, you know, I don't know the one that Michelle used in case you're interested in that particular file, but I know that the one that I used was from Silhouette. Um, and I, you know, to cut out with a Cameo. But if you don't have a Cameo and say you have a different cutting machine, you can still use Design Studio. You would need the trying to think. No, you don't need, trying to think here, to use the oh gosh, I'm blanking, guys. I need to drink some more coffee. Okay, so to use the files that you purchase from Silhouette America, that's what I meant to say. You do not need to have a Cameo. You can download them, upload them to a Cricut or anything like that, and use them there. Oh my gosh, Edward, yes, you've got to learn to use it. Absolutely. Before I started die cutting, that was the way that I did all of my cutting, was with my Cricut. And yeah, you can make some amazing things. Um, but for sure, the files that, I mean, I'm trying to think of what other files. Again, I don't tend to keep too much of what I make. Um, I'm sorry, guys. I'm looking around my room to see if there's anything else that I may have, huh. No, I think that stuff is all gone. It's all gone. But there's plenty that you can do. Yeah, sorry guys. I don't want to keep you guys here too much longer. You know, um, I will come back, like I said before, with my English with the typewriter. uh, this is when I know I have to end my videos, when I can't speak any longer, English or Spanish. It just doesn't matter. My words are just like blah blah. That just means I need to eat something or drink something. I'm fading away. But please visit my website. Leave me a comment, and I will pick somebody to get a little something in the mail. All right, guys? But thank you so much for having been here. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Edward. I truly appreciate it. Um, and if you need to know how I colored these guys, you know, just rewind the video, put it on fast mode, and put me on mute, and then that way you can get through it. um, and if I go back, which I don't know if I can do that today, then I'll try to list the numbers of the markers used. Time for a nap. Yeah. No, time for breakfast for me. I tend to have my breakfast at this time of day. But I will say goodbye. As I always say, be inspired, be blessed, and thank you so much for watching. Time for me to go. Ciao, ciao. How do I end this? Okay, here. Bye, adios.